I had a chat with someone who's switching to compounded retatrutide in hopes of getting better weight loss results. It made me wonder, what do we really know about this new medication? I decided to do a deep dive into the research, and what I found is both exciting and a little bit alarming as well. I'm just going to call it Reta because it is a mouthful. So how is Reta different? Well, the difference is there is a third hormone receptor agonist. So as you know, semaglutide has GLP-1, Mounjaro and Zepbound have GLP-1 plus GIP. Reta has a third one, which is a glucagon receptor agonist. It's been dubbed the triple G drug. The theory behind the drug is by activating glucagon receptors, it enhances fat breakdown and raises resting metabolic rate. And it also adds a third layer of hunger suppression as well. In current trials, people are losing almost 25% of their body weight in just over a year. So to put that in real life terms, someone starting at 100 kilograms would lose around 29 kilos. Or if you're using pounds, that would be starting at a weight of 220 pounds, you'd lose roughly 48 to 57 pounds. And then starting at 265 pounds, say, you would lose between 57 and 68 pounds. So when I read those figures, I've got to say, I was not all that impressed because many years ago, when I lost weight with only diet and exercise, I actually got better results than this in a shorter period of time frame. So if you're new here and you haven't watched any of my other videos, I lost 90 pounds in 11 months. That was 22 years ago now. So imagine what you could actually do if you changed your lifestyle in conjunction with this medication. It could be rather miraculous. While we're talking lifestyle and diet, if you would like a nutrition and metabolic reset program that also includes mindset training for long-term weight loss to use alongside the medication and actually solve the weight loss issue long-term, consider checking out my private membership area, especially if you plan to keep the weight off, because the truth is we really need to address the underlying cause of the original weight gain if we're going to solve the real problem. If we don't address the underlying cause, the weight is just going to come back. So if that interests you, I will pop that in the description below for you. So glucagon is the hormone that raises blood glucose, right? It's basically the opposite of insulin. So insulin is a storage hormone. It puts everything away. Glucagon normally in the body is released when our blood sugar drops a little bit and the brain sends a message to our pancreas saying we need more blood sugar. And in that situation, glucagon will pull the body's storage sugar, which is called glycogen, out of our liver to put more blood glucose or sugar into our blood. So why would a weight loss drug activate glucagon? Well, normally glucagon pushes blood sugar up, but in retatrutide, it's packaged alongside GLP-1, which is a powerful blood sugar lowerer. So GLP-1 helps to stabilize your blood sugars, right? The two essentially cancel each other out. So you could actually think about this in a way of like pressing on the car accelerator and the brake at the same time. Now that in itself actually gives me pause about the long-term use of this medication, because the body was not designed to have both sides running at the same time. Glucagon and insulin are supposed to oppose each other. They don't work at the same time in the human body. So what is the glucagon agonist actually doing then? So first, it's turning up your body's heat, which could be a real problem if you've got menopause, if you're having hot flushes. We have a type of fat in our body called brown fat, and its job is to burn energy as heat rather than to store it. So it keeps us warm, and actually babies have quite a lot of brown fat for this reason. So glucagon activates our brown fat, which is why it is increasing our metabolic rate a little bit. So your body is literally burning more calories just by you resting. This means you might normally burn 1,500 calories in a day, for example, just by doing nothing. Before you even get up in the morning, that's what you're burning just to survive. But now with the addition of Reta, it's possible you might burn 1,700 calories by doing nothing extra. So the second thing it's doing is it's targeting fat in your liver, which is actually really important. Glucagon tells your liver to start burning its own fat stores and stop making new fat stores to store in the liver. And this is why Reta is being studied as a treatment for fatty liver disease, not just obesity. And third, it's helping you to feel less hungry, just like the other GLP-1 medications. Okay, let's talk side effects that we know about so far. And more importantly, we're going to also look at the things that we don't yet know. So glucagon, especially at these doses, puts your body into a catabolic state, right? Because essentially, glucagon is a catabolic hormone. That means your body is breaking things down for fuel, and the risk is losing a lot more lean mass. And lean mass doesn't just mean muscle mass, it also includes bone tissue, connective tissue, and everything else. So lean mass is essentially anything except stored body fat. So these are the common side effects, which are very familiar to most people. So they include nausea, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, and those occur mostly during dose escalation. Two things stand out as being quite different though. The dropout rate from these trials, which was around 18% of patients on the highest dose, stopped due to side effects. So the side effects must have been pretty severe. And most of those people started with a lower BMI. Actually, some participants reported that the weight loss was too fast, and that was a reason that they decided to leave. And then up to 4% of people, depending on the dose they were on, experienced an unusual skin tingling or crawling sensation. It's not dangerous that we know of, but also not seen with the other GLP-1 medications either. And I think personally could drive somebody crazy. So I'm not surprised those people dropped out. Now for some good news, participants reported knee pain improvement by up to 75%. Blood pressure dropped by 14 systolic points, which is actually quite good. Systolic is the top number on your blood pressure readings. And cholesterol and triglycerides improved as well. And in a separate diabetes trial, A1C dropped by up to 2%. So we can see that this is a powerful drug, but requires careful dose titration and should probably be supervised. So be very careful when you're getting those compounded meds, which you don't know what's in there. Anyway, so the next section we're going to talk about is about what independent researchers have found when they hypothesize chronic glucagon receptor activation and what it might do to the body over time. Most of this is not covered in the trial data because when trials are done, essentially science is aiming to ask a specific question and then get either a specific answer or they're looking for a hypothesis that then they can work from to ask another question. So none of these questions may have been asked in the trial. If you're considering using this medication, I think it's really important to bring as much information together to get a full picture. And besides that, an independent look is good because this research isn't being done by the company that is actually selling the product, right? Very important. Okay, so here's what independent studies have found. Your pancreas actually has alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells, which produce glucagon, the same hormone that Reta is stimulating, a study found that chronic glucagon receptor activation or stimulation caused alpha cells to shrink in number. Essentially, the body downregulated its own glucagon-producing cells in response to an external supply. You've heard me talk about downregulation before in other videos that I've done related to GLP-1 medications, so this is a very similar phenomenon that the body does. Nobody has studied what happens to the body's ability to make its own glucagon after long-term use of these medications, and we don't know if the alpha cells recover after stopping the medication. None of the trials have run long enough to actually know any of this yet. I would suspect the alpha cells would recover after stopping, but we can't really be sure without seeing it firsthand. Okay, so the other thing that came up was that glucagon signals the liver to pull amino acids out of our blood and burn them as fuel. Amino acids are the building blocks to proteins. So if glucagon is pulling amino acids out of our blood, the question then becomes, where are those amino acids coming from? At the doses used in this medication continuously, that becomes a drain on your body's amino acid supply. Those amino acids will most likely come from muscle tissue. Muscle doesn't have glucagon receptors directly, but when amino acids are chronically low in the bloodstream, the signal that tells muscle to repair and grow simply switches off. That means no new muscle building, which is a real problem if you want to maintain your metabolism. And apparently, that switch stays off even if you're eating plenty of protein because your liver is consuming the protein before it reaches your muscle tissue. This could be an explanation for the skin tingling reported from the trial participants because amino acid depletion actually affects our neurotransmitters and the precursors to build neurotransmitters. And so sensory nerves under the skin could actually be affected by this. So the next one is about your kidneys. So your kidneys have their own glucagon receptors, and those receptors play an important role in filtering out waste products from protein metabolism, right? A study found when researchers removed those receptors in mice, so this is not a human trial, it's done in animal trials, the waste started to build up in the blood and inflammation developed, and over time, the kidneys showed permanent scarring. Now, in that study, they removed the receptors completely, which is not the same thing as what retatrutide might do. And it's much more extreme than what the drug does. So you would have heard me talk about in other videos how receptors actually go inside the cells so that the hormone can't get to them. That's a part of the downregulation process. And so that's what scientists are asking here. If that happens to the kidney over months or even years, does the kidney gradually lose its ability to clear protein waste? Here's the thing, nobody knows, and nobody in the current trials are testing for this either that we know of. So the next one that we're going to look at is bone loss, and this one is the one that actually worries me the most, I think. We already know that we have a higher risk of bone breakdown with rapid weight loss, right? That's the part of losing our lean mass that we don't want because bones rebuild in response to load. So here's the thing, less weight, less stimulus. So as you lose weight, you're going to reduce the load on your bones, basically. This is why doing your resistance training is so very important. The thing is, though, is that with the combination, because glucagon is putting us into a catabolic state, the cell turnover within our bones is likely to be much higher. And with us losing weight as well, if we're not doing any weight-bearing exercise, it is more likely that we will lose bone mass, and that can become dangerous over time. So here's my honest take now that we've delved deep into the data. I personally won't be trying retatrutide purely because I've had better weight loss results by combining a microdose of Mounjaro, and you can watch my video that I did a few weeks ago about that. So I combine my GLP-1 microdose, and it is a microdose, with a very good nutrition plan and exercise. I guess, though, for people that don't want to change anything about their lifestyle, they would find this medication very enticing. But being as old as I am and having watched people deal with weight issues for as long as I have, I know one thing for sure. If we don't address what caused the problem in the first place, the problem won't go away. We can't medicate our way out of this. It is a fantastic tool to use in conjunction with lifestyle, but I don't believe it's going to solve the problem. And adding a high dose medication to try and solve a lifestyle problem will probably just cause more distress in the long run from potential side effects, which we don't even know about yet. If you'd like to learn more, you can watch this video next. I go in depth about how you can get the very best weight loss results from combining nutrition and low dose GLP-1 medications. So I will see you in there.
Smarter Nutrition, GLP done well.